Welcome to Murghab. A most dramatic entrance.
Akali Show has been the hero of this trip so far. Now, if only he can get the car to start.
Let's see if they stop and help us. This is probably the third car that has passed us in 130 meters. All right, so just a quick up.
It seems no matter how well we plan, we always run into kerfuffles. We left Karakul without incident. The lengthy ribbon of tarmac built by the Soviets to support their geopolitical interests in Afghanistan pulled us further south, gracing us with beautiful vistas of the raw Pamir landscape. Certainly not a journey for the faint of heart, nor one for the unprepared, and while we had stocked up in Karakul as best we could, we were running short on the one thing that mattered the most.
So we tried our best, but now we're completely out of petrol. The car is still moving, and this is just what I said, that we were getting to a part that was going to roll down in 200 meters. So that's it, that's the last leg. There is some hope though. Alisho's gotten back into telephone reception, which is another risk when you take this highway. It really is a complete dead zone, but he's gotten reception again, and he's calling ahead to the village to see if they can bring us some petrol. And then I'm just going to turn around, and you can see that we're that close. So that structure off in the distance, it's less than 100 meters from where we are. That is the welcome gate to Murghab, and just beyond that we can actually see the whole settlement at the foot of that mountain range. So all hope is not lost. It's just a question of what exactly are we going to do? Are we going to roll into town?
No, yeah, it will go this way.
So I literally think we're going to roll into town, like
neutral.
How far? Yeah, we're rolling on. How far we're rolling in neutral, but it's a downward slope all the way down to the village, which I estimate is about 2.5 kilometers away. Welcome to Murghab.
Today's destination is Bulunkur, the coldest settlement in Central Asia, a fact we confirmed to our sorrow. For now, it's a pit stop in Murghab, the largest settlement in the eastern Pamirs. We need to charter our equipment, stock up on supplies, and be in Bulunkur by nightfall.
Right guys, so we were able to get some of the roll in, and I'd estimate, but Biruz, how far did we roll? At least 1.5 kilometers, 2?
Around 2.
Yeah, so we rolled 2 kilometers, but then we're way out of it right now. There isn't enough of a gradient to get us down to the village. One thing I did want to say here, and this is just, I suppose, important from a personal health perspective, is that I suggested that we push the car, right? And Beruz and Alisho right away said absolutely not, and I said why? And then they explained that because of the high altitude, that there was a massive risk that my heart could just you know, get tachycardic and just stop. Literally, when I suggested it, they were like, no, the same way you would shout to a child, like, don't go near that. I was like, okay. And then they explained it to me, which makes a lot of sense. And the reason I'm sharing this is there are sometimes dangers which are invisible. You can't see them, you can't anticipate them, and I really appreciate the guys just looking after me in this way. How are we going to get out of this pickle? Well, that's the village just ahead there. Apparently someone's being sent to bring us some petrol, so we're going to refuel and then drive into town. This is not the aid that we were expecting. This is just a random passerby, and let's see what Beruz is able to get out of them. Beruz is known to boast that he could sell sand in the desert, and it's a boast he's never tired of making. But in this case, the boast is earned. So we got a litre of petrol. There you can see it's a litre. It was sold to us for 10 sumun, which is about a 20% markup on the official rate. But hey, we're not complaining.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya khabıcı mı olmuş ha?
Time to go, time to go, time to go.
Terbiye almak istemiyorum.
Alright, we've just gotten into the town proper and I'm holding my GoPro sideways, trying to be discreet because straight ahead there's an Independence Day parade and this is the regional military. I don't believe I'm supposed to be doing this because we were warned rather in Karakul not to. So I'm just going to see if I can get a few seconds being as discreet as I possibly can, and then I'm just going to pull away. So in case you're wondering why I'm trying to get footage of these random electronic devices, it's because there's a story behind it, right? Now we've just left Karakul, which has hardly any electricity. In another part of the public access areas, we're charging the power banks. I don't know where those are. And then of course we've got the drone charging, we've got the phones charging. Next in line are going to be our computers, because without those we can't transfer content from the SD cards to the external hard drives. And then once we've got a fair amount of juice, we're going to hit the road about 150 kilometers to Bulunkur, and that's our itinerary for today.
Minimum 4 hours like.
So Baruz is pointing out that I should stress that it's not just 150 kilometers, which is nothing, but the road is quite poor. It's in a terrible state, and the last, I don't know, 20 kilometers are completely off-road. So 4-hour drive?
Around 4 hours.
For Murghab.
Depending on how speed, but
Okay.
it's like minimum from 3 to 4.5.
Cool. Alright, I just want to say I love doing these shout outs to people that are kind to us on the route. So this is the Pamir Hotel in Murghab. They gave us very good value meal, and they're letting us charge light. We've taken over all of their sockets. So today's the 4th of September, and in the last 6 days, 3 Central Asian countries are celebrating their 30th independence. So Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan on the 31st of August, and Tajikistan's coming up on the 9th of September. But already we're seeing some of the parade practices, the military parade practices. So we saw that in Karakul, and also as we were coming into Murghab. Now the reason I'm highlighting this is that the Central Asian countries, they do not take their independence, lightly at all. In Uzbekistan, it's a 5-day holiday. That's an entire week. Literally, you could fly out on Friday, fly back on Sunday. That's a 9-day holiday just because of independence. And I'm mentioning this here because in Tajikistan, it's almost taking on a kind of not just a nationalistic flavour, but almost like a militant flavour as well. We're seeing lots and lots of soldiers in the street, but also the civilians are being, I don't want to use the word conscripted, but they're being pulled into these parade practices, and it does have this military feel to it. We've just left Murghab, so we left it about 20 minutes ago, and we're off now to Bulunkur. As I mentioned before, it's the coldest part of Central Asia. Now, what I did want to show, as Bruce and I go back to the car, is this mountain range over here. On the other side of the mountains is China, but not just anywhere in China, it's the Xinjiang province, and this is the heartland of the Uyghurs. Now you can find Uyghurs throughout Central Asia, Western China, Tajikistan, a few, lots in Kyrgyzstan, and the sad thing is that it feels so close to the Uyghur community in Central Asia that have family over there, but it's so far away. About 3 years ago, it's been more difficult for the Uyghur communities here in Central Asia, especially in Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, to call their relatives just over the mountain range because of whatever political policies are taking place. I spoke to a Uyghur girl who lives in this Pamir region, and she was telling me that, you know, before 2018, she could easily just pick up the phone and call her relatives. She could go and visit them if she liked. But now all of that's changed, and it really does bring home that there are people in this world less privileged, torn about by politics, by cynical government initiatives. And as I looked on this mountain range, I just thought of that girl, and my heart went out to her. There's really nothing that we can do. Okay, Alisho! Okay, Alisho!
In 1929, Joseph Stalin drew a series of squiggly lines across the sprawling map of the USSR. Today, those squiggly lines persist as the perplexing borders of Central Asia. Their consequence? A legacy of ethnic division that has endured for a century and torn asunder communities that had endured harmoniously for a millennium. We only covered 300 kilometers today, but our route was packed with memories to last a lifetime. From euphoria to melancholy, from pickles to panic, we pushed on through the night, whose dawn would herald yet another phase in our Tajikistan odyssey. We did not make it to Bulunkur before nightfall, extreme folly feeling your way in the black of night to a remote settlement of barely 400 and no electricity to speak of.
This is where it gets really crazy. In the daytime, so by 10 o'clock, it could get as high as 25 degrees centigrade, and today is the 4th of September. However, at night, so when we arrived just now, about what was it, minus, did she say minus, what was it?
Today?
Yes, tonight. She told us it was minus something. I think she said minus 22 or minus 25. We were supposed to get 3 individual rooms, but I said, this is a homestay that is powered only by solar. We're not going to have electricity for much longer. We're not going to have any heating, no matter what. So instead of taking 3 individual rooms, I suggested for practical purposes that we find the smallest room that can accommodate 3 people so that we can benefit from our body heat. It's the best way to survive.
The morrow would show if that would be enough.